Travel back in time with a trip inside the Iowa's News Now vault.
Last night was one of the worst nights in Iowa history. A new record of 30 tornadoes hit the state, causing at least 4 deaths, more than 50 injuries, and tens of millions of dollars in damage. In southwest Wisconsin, the death toll was even worse. 11 were killed. What was unusual was that the twister struck over such a wide area. We're in front of our map in the newsroom tonight to show you where all these twisters in Iowa were reported, from Ottumwa as far north as Tatanka. Forecaster Wayne Ellingson of the National Weather Service says he can't remember any instance in 25 years when so much damage was done in so many parts of the state. The towns hardest hit were Burt up in Kossuth County, and also Wright in Mahaska County and Delta in Keokuk County. Governor Branstad has designated Delta and Burt disaster areas and has offered state assistance. 2 deaths occurred near Delta. They were Mr. and Mrs. Gerald Rice, who were traveling west on Highway 92. They saw the tornado coming at them, drove their car in the ditch. The tornado struck them, picked up their car, and carried it 300 feet. The Rices were thrown from the car, and authorities say they were apparently killed instantly. So far, no reliable estimate of the property damage has been made, but a state trooper says that at least 40 to 50 homes were destroyed in just Keokuk County alone. Maggie?
In southern and eastern Iowa, the storms traveled in a usual northeasterly path. Our coverage now follows the track of the storm. John Okerstrom reviews the damage in Johnson and Iowa counties, but first, Sandy Riesgraff reports on the sites of some of the most extensive damage.
As quickly as the storm entered southeastern Iowa, it was gone, leaving behind it only speculation as to what destruction the morning might reveal. Did you see the tornado coming? Did you have any warning?
No, we was sitting at the table and pretty soon wind has started blowing in and busting all over the place.
Strong winds did blast just about everything in sight. Mike and Linda McBarney's farm near Sigourney. This trailer down the road and a family of 3 inside were swept up and dropped like leaves into a pond. Still farther down the road, 2 semis tossed on their sides as if mere toys. With morning came the sights of devastation and the sounds of determination to salvage the little left untouched. The small community of Delta woke to a state of natural disaster. 26 people injured and 2 dead in the storm's path.
I found some coins.
In the nearby town of Wright, Joni and Richard Fairchild had nothing to salvage from their home of 24 years. Neighbors, too, lost everything. In a matter of seconds, the entire town was leveled.
The church where I went to church at, the school where I started at school at, it's all gone. Nothing left of everything I've ever known.
There will probably be little picking up the pieces in this town. Most residents say it was really never on the map, and now it never will be. Sandy Riesgraff in Mahaska County.
This is John Okerstrom. The deadly weather tore into Iowa and Johnson counties next. In rain-soaked darkness, the damage appeared spotty. Downed power lines, splintered trees, and wind-torn farm buildings. Many very near others virtually untouched by the twisters.
Thank God we're all alive. 2 of us got wiped out here.
Richard Miller's house survived, but a wind-impaled 2x4 provided a grim reminder of the storm's power. His son's nearby home disintegrated. A cracked foundation and the heavy smell of fuel oil remained.
There wasn't much there. I couldn't believe it. Everything was gone.
With the new day's light, the magnitude of the destruction in Iowa County and here on the Miller farm became more apparent. In a word, it is staggering. Losses will total in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Storm-scattered debris litters countless fields and yards. Fences designed to keep livestock out were little match for the tremendous winds. Still, authorities say there were no injuries here, but surviving last night is not the end of the battle. For many, it is the beginning. Here, family and friends worked to salvage grain from fractured bins. At the Howard Yoder farm, the cleanup began on 2 fronts. The women in the house and the men on top of what used to be the barn. With bulldozers and chain, they fought to remove tons of debris and uncover pigs buried alive, apparently afraid to come out.
They didn't squeal last night or make any noise, so we figured they weren't in too bad a shape.
They pulled several live ones out there today. How does that make you feel?
Pretty good. They belong to the boy. They're my boy's hogs. If it wasn't for the boy, I wouldn't rebuild it. I'd just put up a machine shed in the garage and let it go. But he's young, and if he wants to raise the hogs, we may go back into it.
For many here, this is clearly an emotional time, a time for coming to grips with enormous losses of property and for realizing that more important things endure.
This is the greatest community I know of to be in. There'll be people here I know that's just the way they are. They'll be out to help us. It's great.
John Okerstrom, 2 Action News, Iowa County.
The worst toll in human lives hit the southwest Wisconsin town of Barneveld, about 50 miles northeast of Dubuque. We sent Tom Bryady of our Northeast Iowa team to report on the destruction there.
This tiny hamlet looks like a junkyard today. The tornado that swept through this morning destroyed nearly everything, killed 9 people and injured 57 others. It started shortly after 1 a.m. and townspeople had virtually no warning.
We went right down the stairs, almost flying down the stairs because the wall was coming in at the same time. We got down on our stomachs in the basement, laid between like a partition underneath, and we were pretty safe there.
The funnel cloud came in from the west side. Officials say it started in a tiny swath and widened out to about a half a mile. The whole period took only about 15 seconds. This afternoon, rescue workers picked through the kindling and rubble, and Wisconsin's governor toured the scene on foot and from the air. Following his inspection, Anthony Earl made it clear he will do all he can to help the victims, but they will also need help from Washington.
This community is going to need a lot of help in restoring essential services, and we can give some help there, but we're not going to be able to help the community or the people in it without some sort of outside help from the federal government.
For the moment, the victims of this storm are staying at shelters in Dodgeville or with neighbors in other towns. But in the long term, it's not clear what will happen. Many have lost everything and will simply have to start again. Tom Bryady, 2 Action News, Barneveld, Wisconsin.
Coming up, a new source of hope for Waterloo's economy.